The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Mindfulness in Action. My name is Dalida, and today I'm going to have another very special guest, and the guest is the book. The book is called Discovering the Body Wisdom, and the author is Mirka Knaster. And you know what? I did contact Mirka, and she agreed to be the guest on the podcast in July or after June, after late July or August. We are still adjusting our calendars, and I'm really looking forward to explore and hear about her journey. This book traveled with me from States. It was actually a gift from a friend. So it traveled from States to China. In China, it moved at least 5 times. And then from China to Thailand, from Thailand to Italy, from Italy to Belgrade. I had to give away a lot of my books as I decided to leave Asia, but this one I kept. And all books that I'm reflecting on have followed a very similar path. So what is really special about this book is that it helped me understand all different methodologies to addressing the pain or even stamina or strength of the body that I've been really exploring a lot because I had to. There was no other way for me to make sense of what was happening as a result of being in a new culture when I left Europe, different diet, very unhealthy lifestyle at that time before I began to research and understand what was going on with me. And Western medicine, I think I maybe shared it in some of the episodes, Western medicine was always saying, look, everything is okay with you physically. They would do blood tests and they would check x-rays and whatever. And they would say, no, your body is okay. Everything functions really well. It must be your mind. And that was really, really hard to hear, especially because I began to believe that something was wrong with me mentally. And then I began to explore Chinese medicine, and they would say, well, the qi of your stomach is really low, or it's moving in a very hectic way. And I was just fascinated with all of that and began to explore it and started to practice martial arts. So through my practice of mindfulness, I also began to understand a little bit more and a little bit better on the principles of working with the body. And one that I really like coming from Zen tradition is to test everything, is not to trust blindly anything that anyone says, and not also to be suspicious or doubtful, but to basically treat our own ecosystem, the body, and emotions as uncharted territory, especially if we haven't explored it. And there is nobody's map can fit our own body. And therefore, test the approaches or test the principles and follow and notice, how does my body really respond to that? I didn't really know this until I started to practice mindfulness a little bit more, and in tradition of Plum Village, which was in some 10 years ago right now. And before that, I would follow words and perspectives of various teachers just before, because I really liked the way how they were teaching, and I liked the way how they were being as well. But looking back, some things didn't really fit my body, and that's why I want to use this the part of the book as the dictionary. It has a dictionary guide to body ways and many different techniques, and I'm going to share which techniques I have explored and what they did for me. A couple of days ago, I was talking to my sister, and she was sharing, she's turning 60 this year, and she shared how finally she's being submissive to her body, and especially her stomach. And she said, like, I've been just mistreating it so much, and now my stomach is saying it's enough, you have to listen. So the language of the body, not that language, the body language, not the body language as how I'm holding myself, and therefore what I'm revealing to others based on my posture, but more the language of the body. How is the body speaking to us? With various practices like yoga or mindfulness practices, and also any slow practice, we are actually bringing interoceptive awareness to our vocabulary. We can begin to be aware of the inner state of our body, so that I can sense and say, something is not quite right with my liver, let me adjust my diet, the sleep, or kidneys. My back hurts, but maybe it's my kidneys. Maybe I need to adjust my water intake, and so on. Interoceptive awareness is really something that I think current lifestyles could be taking us away from. But if we take a little bit more attention to it, it's really going to give you a lot of wisdom how to treat yourself with kindness. In one of the episodes, my guest, Peter Bonanno, was talking about the app called Daily Connect. And in it, we are using 2 prompts, 2 questions, as we share over 15 minutes practice. And one is, what was a difficult emotion you experienced in the past day and how it felt in your body? And the second one is, what was the moment of the gratitude and how it felt in your body? So that part, how did it feel in your body, is really crucial for developing interoceptive awareness. So I'm going to now just look at the glossary of the book. Many things are to be said about various Western and Eastern practices, but Mirka begins reflection with massage, and this is what she lists as ways. The book was published in late 90s, so I'm sure there were some other publications as well, but I'm sure there are a lot of other methods also that are coming up. So Swedish style, I've never tried Swedish massage. Contemporary Esalen style, on-site seated chair massage, pregnancy massage, infant and child massage. I have not experienced it, but I have seen it being done by my teacher, and I'll just speak of my own experience rather than what is written in the book. And I was amazed on how much was done by massaging palms of the child, and all inner organs could be massaged like that, and the baby just really soothing and calming down, and falling asleep. It was fascinating, or reducing the fever. It was just fascinating. Sports massage. I have met people who do it, but I have not had any sports massage. Massage for the elder years, geriatric massage, Russian massage. The Benjamin system of muscular therapy. There is Bindegewebs massage, is probably German word, lymphatic massage. I have turned a whole Phuket while I was living in Thailand looking for someone who could give me lymphatic massage. When I realized that and learned that due to the heat and humidity, I got varicose veins because the membrane of my veins became too loose to bring the blood back into my to the upper part of my body. I'm suffering greatly from that. Now it's chronic, but finding the way to deal with that. So a little bit of experience about meeting that masseuse. He's actually a physiotherapist, accredited, and he went to university. And one thing in Thailand that is really important to know is, have people received a proper education, or are they just applying a massage because they learned it by themselves? And I asked him once, so how do I know which pain is good? Because there were moments when the postures that he was asking me to take, and the pressure that he was doing on my body, my hip was blocked, my legs were swollen, my knee was really swollen. It was very hard to walk. And he said, well, sometimes it's really important to know that the pain is the moment when you need to pause, and because the pain is creating reflection on where is really sore, or where you need to really nourish that part and not to give it any pain. But also there's some time when pain is good, because you are releasing the pressure of that part. So naturally you will get more pain if you go into the parts that have been sore. And the conclusion was, some pain is bad, some pain is good, but nobody can tell you. You are the only person that can find out about that. Massaging my legs from bottom up to kind of like help with the flow of my blood was really important. But eventually I managed to strengthen my response to heat, luckily. So that was my experience of having pain and trusting masseuse, physiotherapist, with their approach, because they knew how to explain. And rather than trusting blindly, it was really important to also test and see that there was some release of pain afterwards. So yeah, test it, test everything, see if it works for you, find another practitioner if it's not. Lauren Berry method, Bowen technique, I heard a lot about it, I never tried it. Trigger point therapy, trigger psychological integration, craniosacral therapy. I experienced that. I attended a program, and it was just fascinating how micro movements could actually help release a certain muscle. There's a lot of stillness. So for those people who like very strong massage, this is probably going to be something that is going to frustrate you. But if you have a person who can help you to release the pressure from stillness, and if you have patience for that, and I would highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Orthobionomy, I don't know, body logic sounds interesting. I have not experienced that. Then in the next chapter, it's structural approaches, so standing upright. I experienced that although there is a special martial arts section in this book, one specific way where standing stances and standing meditation is really helping to strengthen the body, and the posture is something that reminds me of when I read the part of standing upright. Rolfing, heard a lot about it, never tried it. Aston patterning, no. Heller work, no. Postural integration, no. Soma, neuromuscular integration. Core body work, myofascial release, none of that. I have not tried. I have never had the chance to meet practitioners who could provide that for me. Functional approaches, learning to move, that I did a lot, but there are some specific approaches like Alexander technique. I heard about it. I have never done it. Gerd Alexander Euthony, sensory awareness, Feldenkrais method. I have tried that. So in Feldenkrais method, there was a practitioner who was doing the sport, so he did a lot of harm to his body. He was practicing for Olympic competitions in sailing, and then in the end, the only way for him to release his the tension of his body was through Feldenkrais method, and then eventually learned it and is now a practitioner who is supporting others. There were moments when, for example, we would be lying on the floor, and to turn your head from upright position to the right, it would sometimes take 10 minutes. And again, very mindful, very attentive to what is happening, where is the block, and bringing that alignment within between the awareness, mind, and the body. Also awareness, for example, if you're lying down, and then having the awareness of the distance between the little toe and the floor, and just staying there and noticing what that brings. It's just fascinating. I really enjoyed it, and I really liked on how much presence that technique was providing for me. Then there's Hana somatic education and body-mind centering. Western movement arts, Laban Bartanev, no. The Pilates and physical mind method, I explored a little bit of Pilates, not too much. Ideokinesis, no. Contact improvisation, just some practices. It's all a lot about the freedom of the movement, and I think for those who have some trauma, body trauma, I really like that freedom to explore personal boundaries and to be invited to connect especially if it's connecting with another person or practicing with elements in your environment, like a chair or sofa. Because and learning how to know the boundaries of your own body. Continuum, kinetic awareness, authentic movement, skinner releasing technique, Wetzig coordination patterns. Sounds fascinating. There's so much out there. Then Eastern energy. Naturally, I explored a little bit more of that. The Chinese tradition, Chinese body ways, Chinese massage. So I had my mother visit, and at times she was frustrated because she got used to that really strong massage. But with Chinese massage, there is acupressure. It's actually the point where you press is going to release the flow of the energy. I used to have massage every day. I was practicing extensively, and it was one way to release the muscle tension and also to again get the awareness of the state of my inner organs through the massage. I really miss that part. Then there's a Japanese tradition, shiatsu, hoshino therapy, anma. I don't know it. And then Indian tradition, Ayurveda, it's a lot about how we eat, and then awareness of chakras and movement of the energy, kundalini. I have little knowledge, but not that much. So then traditional Thai massage, I have tried it. There's a lot of massaging with elbow, using a lot of pressure. I would see people on the street getting out with bruises. I personally got hurt by it, and I do not enjoy it at all. Lomi Lomi, reflexology, polarity therapy, Watsu, zero balancing, therapeutic touch, Reiki. Reiki is the, many would probably know, is a way of moving the energy without the touch. I have explored it. I was trained in it. I enjoyed it for a while, and then I realized that I actually needed something that would help me coming more into my body. And then the next chapter is about martial arts, Chinese tradition, Qigong, Tai Chi, and I have explored and experienced that. Now, all of these as a name, I use quite a bit of time to share just names so you know how many different approaches there are when it comes to connecting with the body. In my recent weeks, I realized something very important, and that is that I very easily dissociate from my body. That is my go-to strategy for avoiding pain and emotions. And I'm realizing this through somatic therapy that I've been taking now for a year. And now, knowing that I have tried quite a few techniques, and some I have explored for over 15 years, and sometimes I would go so deep into the practice that I would practice for 5 hours a day and really dedicated. I did that maybe for 2 years. But then, can you imagine doing the body work and then constantly at the same time being outside of the body? So I actually didn't have a feedback what felt right and what didn't feel right. I was just pushing through the practices so that I could get somewhere where I thought was the place of being invincible, that I would be able to feel to become a healer. But I did not do it to experience aliveness. I did not do it to feel energized. So most of the time I was actually absolutely exhausted. And I would practice those 5 hours in the morning and then go early to sleep, and just looking at my body and in terms of how it was reshaping itself. And I was getting skinnier and skinnier until I began to look quite anorexic. I did not know how to bring my mind close to the body. And when I started doing the somatic therapy a year ago, I realized that actually my mind didn't feel safe in my body, because I did not know what language my body spoke. So I knew all the theory, but in practice, I was most of the time outside of my body. Dissociation is one way. So you might know also some people have a very low pain threshold, and some people will have high pain threshold. So my pain threshold would be that I would push my body and then I would suddenly collapse. So there was no feedback in between. And then when I would collapse, I would push myself a little bit more because I couldn't just understand what was going on. And mentally, I could go further. So my mind was very, very capable in taking me to a desired place, but never asking my body how it feels. And even if I did, I didn't quite know what that means and what signs was I supposed to look at. So in one of the sessions with my therapist, the question was, and how does that feel in your body? And I was going into the feeling, and suddenly I realized my mind created some Excel sheets and started to kind of like go through that. And it was unconscious. I could realize that that's what happened. It wasn't by choice. It just did it, which meant that I was really protecting myself from feeling my body. Do you have awareness when that happens for you? Are you the person who is actually with ease experiencing what is pleasant, unpleasant? I personally stay in a very neutral state most of the time, and I need to learn how to stay connected when a little bit stronger emotions come in. Otherwise, I'm obviously going to do whatever is possible for me to do in order to run away. Realizing that has changed my life, and I'm really, really curious to talk to people who can help me to make sense out of what is going on in my mindfulness practice, in my somatic practice. What are the habitual responses, and why things happen the way or my body responds the way it responds. Where is trauma? What is trauma? Is there trauma? Probably. In some events seems that I don't even remember, but they are slowly coming back into the memory. This episode is just an invitation for you to begin to explore a little bit more the secrets of your body, to look into your environment and hear what are people offering. Are there people who are offering different techniques? What does that mean? What could you expect might happen if you go there? If you're expecting a really strong massage, but go and meet someone who is offering craniosacral therapy, you will be really disappointed. If you don't understand what is the methodology, if you're expecting someone to crack your bones and that you will feel good right after that, but a practitioner actually offers a longer journey that will take 2-3 months because it's going to work on the structural change of your body and the posture, then it's not going to be the right match. So wherever you are, whatever your resources are, if it is about the body posture, I would really highly recommend that you work with a professional, because working on our own is really hard. It's so easy to find a soothing posture, but not necessarily the correct one. Finding someone who is going to touch the right place and help you align your knee in a direction that is maybe going to be painful at first, but in the long term, the correct one will change your life from the core. So good luck with whatever you're dealing with, especially if you're dealing with chronic pain. May you find a way to accept and also live with that. And also may you find a community that is going to understand what you're dealing with, because it's not easy to have chronic pain and not have understanding from your family, from your friends, who are just going to complain that you're always finding excuses because your energy is low or you have pain. For the end, I'm going to read a poem, and let's see what that brings. Hokusai Says by Roger Keyes. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention, notice. He says, keep looking, stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. He says, look forward to getting old. He says, keep changing. You just get more who you really are. He says, get stuck, accept it, repeat yourself as long as it's interesting. He says, keep doing what you love. He says, keep praying. He says, every one of us is a child. Every one of us is ancient. Every one of us has a body. He says, every one of us is frightened. He says, every one of us has to find a way to live with fear. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees. Wood is alive. Water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives inside us. He says, live with the world inside you. He says, it doesn't matter if you draw or write books. It doesn't matter if you saw wood or catch fish. It doesn't matter if you sit at home and stare at the ants on your veranda or the shadows of the trees and grasses in your garden. It matters that you care. It matters that you feel. It matters that you notice. It matters that life lives through you. Contentment is life living through you. Joy is life living through you. Satisfaction and strength are life living through you. Peace is life living through you. He says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Look, Feel. Let life take you by the hand. Let life live through you. This is all for today. My name is Dalida Turkovic. This is Mindfulness in Action. I'll see you next time.